Have you ever heard of stones that move on their own, leaving trails behind in the barren, sandy terrain? In the heart of the scorching Death Valley, California, resides an enigma that has confounded the curious and the scientific minds alike for generations. They are known as the sailing stones. These seemingly ordinary rocks hold an extraordinary secret. They move, and no one knows why. The evidence of their voyages is etched deeply into the desolate landscape, long trails carved in the parched terrain, a voyage that seems impossible for a lifeless stone. The first recorded discovery of these mysterious travelers dates back to the early 20th century. Imagine the astonishment of those early explorers, stumbling upon a landscape scarred with inexplicable stone trails. The intrigue deepened with the revelation that no living creature, no human hand, no machine was behind these movements. It was as if the stones had a life of their own, a will to move and travel across the desert floor. Historical reports and photographs from those early days add to the enigma, showing stones of varying sizes from pebbles to boulders, each leaving behind a unique trail. The longer the trail, the longer the journey, the greater the mystery. And the location, Death Valley, adds another layer to the puzzle. This is no ordinary desert, it's one of the hottest places on Earth, a place where life struggles to exist, and yet, in this hostile environment, the stones sail. The conditions in Death Valley are harsh and unforgiving. The valley floor is a dry, cracked wasteland, a testament to the intense heat and lack of water. Yet it's precisely this environment, this combination of heat, sand and isolation, that is the stage for our sailing stones. The stones, their trails, the desert, all these elements come together to create a mystery that has captivated the world. The arid, desolate desert holds a mystery that has perplexed scientists for decades. The sailing stones, as they are aptly named, are not your ordinary rocks. These fascinating geological wonders inhabit the desolate plains of Death Valley. They are an enigma, a riddle wrapped in stone. The rocks themselves are quite ordinary, most of them being either dolomite or syenite and varying in size. Some are as small as a pebble, others as large as a man. But what sets them apart is the long, intricate trails they leave behind in the parched desert floor, trails that suggest these stones have been on a journey. These trails, often winding and looping across the desert floor, can stretch for hundreds of meters, and yet no one has ever seen these stones move. It's as if they voyage only when no one is watching. The patterns they carve are as unique as fingerprints, and just as puzzling. Some tracks are straight as an arrow, others zigzag erratically, and yet others form perfect curves. When the phenomenon was first observed, several theories were proposed to explain these mysterious movements. Some suggested the stones were moved by strong gusts of wind. Others hypothesized that the rocks were somehow magnetic, attracting and repelling each other in a complex dance across the desert floor. A few even suggested otherworldly interference. Was it possible that aliens were using these stones to communicate with us in a language we could not understand? More scientific explanations, however, pointed towards a combination of natural elements. Perhaps it was a unique interplay of ice, wind and water that allowed these stones to glide across the desert floor. But without concrete evidence, these remain just theories, speculations in the vast desert of the unknown. For years, these theories remained unconfirmed. The sailing stones continued their silent, mysterious journey. Each day, each night, they moved, leaving behind a trace of their secret voyage on the desert floor, a voyage we are yet to fully understand. Over the years, scientists have proposed various theories to explain this mind-boggling occurrence. The sailing stones of Death Valley have been the subject of countless theories, each attempting to crack the enigma of their movement. The earliest theories were quite simple. Some thought it was the work of strong winds, sweeping through the valley and pushing the stones across the flat, slippery surface. However, this theory was soon dismissed. The wind would have to be incredibly forceful to move stones of such weight, and there was no evidence of such gales in the valley. Then came the idea of magnetic fields. It was proposed that a potent magnetic force could be pulling these stones, causing them to slide across the desert floor. But again, this theory didn't hold. The stones weren't made of magnetic materials, and there was no evidence of such powerful magnetic fields in Death Valley. As time went on, the theories became more complex. Some suggested that the stones were being moved by animals, or even by the moon's gravitational pull. But none of these explanations could account for all the characteristics of the sailing stone's movement. The tracks left behind were too straight and too consistent to be caused by animals, and the moon's gravitational pull was too weak to be the culprit. Scientists also explored the idea of dust devils, miniature tornadoes that could potentially have the strength to move the stones. But this theory also fell short, as dust devils are not common in Death Valley, and their sporadic nature didn't align with the consistent movement of the stones. The mystery deepened with each theory proposed and subsequently dismissed. Despite the best efforts of scientists, the sailing stones continued to move in their enigmatic ways, leaving behind them trails of unanswered questions. Yet none of these theories could fully unravel the mystery of the sailing stones. And so, the stones continued on their silent journey, their secrets safe for another day. It wasn't until recently that a breakthrough was made. In the quest to solve the riddle of the sailing stones, it was the elements of ice, wind and water that took center stage. These components, which seem so mundane in our everyday lives, have been revealed as the puppet masters behind this desert ballet. The stage is set when winter descends upon Death Valley. The cold air transforms the small ponds that form on the racetrack playa into thin sheets of ice. As the dawn breaks, the ice begins to melt under the desert sun, breaking up into large, floating panels. These panels, thin yet hefty, are nudged by the gentle morning breeze, applying pressure to the stones embedded in the muddy bottom of the playa. Now imagine this, a stone with a sail of ice behind it, propelled by the gentlest of winds across a slick of melting ice and water. The stone begins to move, leaving behind it the telltale track that has puzzled so many for so long. As the day warms, the ice and water vanish, leaving behind only the stone and its mysterious trail. This theory, proposed by researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography and the University of Nevada, Reno, in 2014, was the result of several years of meticulous observations and experiments. It's currently the most accepted theory among scientists because it explains the key characteristics of the phenomenon: the long, straight tracks, the abrupt changes in direction, and the varying distances the stones travel. Despite the compelling evidence, some questions remain unanswered. For instance, why do some stones move while others stay put? And why do some tracks last for decades while others fade away in just a few years? But even with this breakthrough, the sailing stones continue to fascinate and mystify. The science may have demystified the mechanics, but the enchantment of the sailing stones remains. The stones of Death Valley continue to sail on in their silent, unending journey across the playa, a testament to the power of nature and the enduring allure of the unexplained. The sailing stones of Death Valley, a testament to nature's capacity for mystery and wonder. In the heart of Death Valley, a phenomenon occurs that has left even the most astute scientists scratching their heads. The sailing stones, a spectacle that has intrigued and puzzled us for decades. These seemingly ordinary rocks, some weighing up to 700 pounds, travel across the flat desert landscape, leaving behind them trails as proof of their inexplicable journey. Over the years, several theories have emerged in an attempt to solve this riddle. From the supernatural to the scientific, every proposal has had its moment under the scrutinizing spotlight of inquiry. The earliest theories suggested magnetic fields or even extraterrestrial involvement. However, as science progressed, so did our understanding of this peculiar occurrence. The most recent explanation, involving a rare combination of ice, wind and water, has given us a plausible answer. But even then, this theory, like the stones themselves, isn't without its movement. It evolves, it shifts as more data is gathered and analyzed. The sailing stones continue to sail, and with them sails our curiosity. It's this very curiosity that drives us to explore the uncharted territories of our world and beyond. From the depths of our oceans to the farthest reaches of our universe, there are countless phenomena waiting to be discovered, waiting to be understood. The sailing stones of Death Valley serve as a reminder of how much there is still to learn, how much there is still to uncover. As we ponder on the mysteries of the sailing stones, we open our minds to the infinite possibilities that lie ahead. We invite you to join us on this journey of discovery as we dive into the endless ocean of the unexplained. What other mysteries does our world hold? Only time will reveal. Don't forget to subscribe for more content exploring the world's strangest anomalies.